This is Mark Winsor and Tom Diller and the Winsor and Diller Show with Scott Welker joining us again, helping us co-host our show.
Co-host.
Yeah, co-host.
I like it.
Are we going to change the name then officially to the Winsor and
I thought we were going to do a
Show?
contest for like a trip to Hawaii with me and Mark or something like that.
Yeah, I think if people want to give us suggestions for names, but yeah, the Winsor and Diller Show. Interestingly, the reason I want to do a name change on this one is, Joe, I think next week will be the week we start for an additional show at 4 o'clock, and it will be the Mark Winsor Show, Another Voice for Values, where we focus more on the politics and current issues of the day with a look at it through a lens of values.
I like that name.
Another Voice for Value. That is a good name.
Yeah, so that show will start, as soon as that's fine, that'll start next week at 4 o'clock is what I'm hoping. So immediately before this show, we should get the number of listeners up for you guys then, so you'll always start out strong. We'll see if you end up strong each week.
Nice. It's like following prime time or something, right? So.
Yeah, well, we tend, when Joe and I were doing, when we were doing the shows that were more of a variety type, focused on politics and current events and things like that, we had a lot of listeners.
We'd occasionally have 8 or 9 people listening. It was unbelievable.
Wow. Grandmother, dad, uncle, kids. You force them to listen.
Exactly.
It was going really well, and then we stopped the politics because of that sponsor, and then.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, remember we had that sponsor. We don't want any politics, or we're not going to sponsor, and then they fell through anyway.
And then they fell through. So don't go to that sponsor anymore. Let me tell you who they are. No, no, we do appreciate those who follow us and listen each week. And you may not know this, but if you click a button on your computer or on your smartphone, you can actually watch the show, which is exciting sometimes, depending on who our guests are. I'm not so sure how exciting it will be today.
Well, if the show's bad, I'm not going to take credit for bringing these two guys on. So we'll say Joe brought them on or something.
Well, the content should be great.
Absolutely,
the content should be great. I know that people are really wondering, how do I regroup? How do I get a mortgage in today's market? And if I've had a short sale,
especially after disaster, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll be dealing with those issues. So that should be very, very good.
First of all, I don't see myself up on TV, and I come here only because I like watching myself on TV.
Well, you're not looking that way.
Oh, I see my
I'll
arm.
put you. I don't see you. You know what? Then you'll get your own.
Tom wants the little cameras on.
Tom's going to get his own high-def camera.
I'm going to bring my own if you don't show me on TV there. People ask me on my fan mail.
What happens when
Tom Diller guy?
When I take Tom, when that happens, I notice a decline, and I go into the stats, and I notice that like 90% of the ladies drop off. It's mostly men. So we got to kind of keep the scales even by giving Tom his own camera.
Great.
You missed the part when I said this is a family-friendly show.
I just meant people interested in real estate.
There you go.
Right, Tom?
Absolutely.
Right. Well, we could tell even before the show started, we saw the activity on the computers increasing, a lot of people chatting, and so that is good. We welcome comments both by chat on the computer, or if you'd like to call in, feel free to call in. The number's on the computer, or the number if you just want to call in is
480-745-1033.
All righty. All right, Tom, introduce our guest for us tonight. Let's get this ball rolling.
Absolutely. First of all, welcome everybody. Thank you for listening. We have 2 special guests tonight. Directly to my left is Mike Yamamoto, who's the Vision Director at People's Mortgage Smart MTG. We'll talk about that in a second. Then we have to his left Gabe Urias, who's a realtor in the Valley, and he's also a board member of the Carreiro Group, which is the Hispanic Association of Real Estate Professionals, and he's here a little bit to talk about the very large event that we have this Thursday that Mark Windsor's there. My company is a large part of that event, Guarantee Title Agency, and we're really looking forward to it with Judy Lowell, our state's commissioner for real estate. So why don't we start with Mike Yamamoto over here. And as Mark said a minute ago, a lot of people wonder, after an event like a short sale foreclosure, when can they get a loan? You know, there's a lot of myths and misnomers out there. I'm hearing 6 years, 8 years, whatever it is, and they're just rolling out a program that when I heard it, I thought there's no possible way. But a day after that type of an event?
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. It all depends on, a couple of different factors, but depending on your particular situation, which we'll evaluate, you can go as soon as a day out of foreclosure or a day out of short sale, and we can put you back in.
You're a vision director.
Yeah, we have a vision. I have to direct that.
Okay.
That's how it works.
All right, wonderful.
We got no vision, we got no direction. So.
That's a great title. I've not heard that title before. That is a great title. Vision director.
Kind of matches the world globe as our logo. So.
Yeah, I could have used that right before the show. I was trying to use the computer. I couldn't see squat. I could have used the vision
So
director.
you didn't have a Mark Windsor vision director.
No,
There you go.
No.
Now, these loans, is this for somebody that was current during their short sale or whatever? Obviously, during a foreclosure, you're delinquent. You're almost
Right.
you lost your house in a auction or what have you.
Right.
So, what about those folks that decided to short sell their property because they're upside down and their property was no longer their nest egg, and they're out of it? And now there's all these listeners that are out there that may have done this a month ago, a year ago, or what have you. So, you're saying that they can call you up tomorrow and get a loan? For a new home?
Yeah, we have a couple of different options for them. Obviously, if they're current, that gives them more options. If they went to a short sale, foreclosure obviously is what it is. But if they were in default, they had a foreclosure, or they were, delinquent in a short sale, which a lot of people are now. A lot of them won't even pay for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then it goes. That's fine. What we're really looking for is we're trying to identify the person that really focused on just the short sale or the foreclosure event. So we're not looking for
So, no delinquent car payments. Is that what you're saying?
Right. It's
Well,
not
in
going to
fact-
be a complete,
Sometimes I'll have clients that they ask me, okay, if I'm not paying my mortgage while I go through the short sale, what do I do with my money? And I'll look at their entire financial picture and sometimes help them plan what they pay down and get rid of. Well, that could help them even get stronger for this loan if they're tucking money aside for the down payment, right?
Sure.
And then paying off some of their other debt.
Well, right, because if you take a look at it, you say, okay, the guy was, he's a day out of foreclosure. And like you said, a lot of times if they're coming to you, hey, let's stop paying because that's what the servicer requires. And the next thing you know, you're 24, 36 months into the deal, banking $1,500 a month.
Or $2,000
Or
or
$2,000
some of my
right.
clients $2,500,
Yeah.
$3,000 a month.
Right, because they're going to need, if they were delinquent and they're going this route, they're going to need, typically 30% down to do the deal. So
that's their time to tuck it aside. So
That's
people
their
need to
time.
plan ahead and say,
Absolutely.
if they're wanting to buy a house afterwards, they better be wise on how they're spending their money during that period of time they don't have a mortgage payment.
Correct.
Does their amount or their length of delinquency affect their ability to qualify in your program? I know that a lot of people probably who are smart about their short sales will go in and kind of plan through the process of how they're going to go through their short sale.
Well, ironically, it's very interesting because if you look at somebody's credit profile, right, as you go through it, if a person has, car payments, credit cards, and they're paying all those on time, the actual individual event of just a short sale or delinquent mortgage or whatever it is, I mean, we see people all the time that it's just the mortgage isolated, nothing else has gone to the tank.
Mm-hmm.
They're still walking around with 700 FICOs, and so unfortunately for people, the FICO score is what is the determining factor in a lot of cases, and this one will go to 600. But if that's all you have going wrong and you have other credit stabilizing your profile, you're usually okay.
Now, I've got a question for Tom. Did you see now the screen?
Oh, yeah, we're taking care of Tom.
I like that. That's kind of that scared me when I looked over that. I'm like, what the heck?
Did you say I had a caller?
Oh,
he did
don't
see a
tell me
color.
what they said. So they want what? Get the guy off the screen?
He wanted to know where your vision center was
My vision center.
for an eyeglass
Nice.
exam.
Oh, this guy here?
No
Oh,
kidding.
Yeah.
You're the vision director.
That's
Right.
That's right.
Starting out strong.
Yeah, back to Mike's program over here. So, what the cool thing is, I'm seeing a lot of news that there's more and more people in Arizona that are now current. However, they're still upside down. I think the numbers are still staggering. 1 in 4, 1 in 5 are upside down. So this might be the edge that somebody needs to decide, well, maybe now it's time to do a strategic or to get out of their property because they can get another loan very quickly instead of having to wait a couple years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all about planning, just like it is if you go through a divorce, if you go through bankruptcy, if you go through whatever. Purchasing a home is all about, planning and strategy when you go into it. So you want to make sure that whoever you're getting your advisement from, has a director and a vision. Or you could get yourself in a jam because obviously it's going to take a while to prepare for something
You
like
go in
this.
blind if you don't have a director of vision.
Yeah,
you
that's
go into
right.
these transactions
Well,
blind.
and you could get yourself on the wrong side of the fence as far as your preparation goes. And if you make a mistake in there, with the way loans are underwritten today, it could be terminal.
Yeah,
For sure.
So, Gabe, do you have statistics on how are we looking with short sales in the future? You mentioned, Tom, 1 out of 5 houses or something like that
Or upside down still.
are
yeah.
upside down.
Yeah.
Is that valley-wide or?
I don't have the statistics on the number of houses that are upside down. I just can tell you right now that the short sales are continuing to grow, upwards of 40% or such of the inventory out there right now.
Oh, so it's about of the total inventory that's being sold, about 40% is short sale still.
Right.
Now is that Arizona wide or Maricopa County wide, or
this is in Maricopa
County,
or the general metro area.
Okay.
What has really happened, and people still have, I think it's been maybe 3 months ago, I remember reading in the paper that it's a great time for first-time home buyers. And sometimes the Republic is a little late on some of this information. It's a great time from one aspect, that the great time for home buyers in terms of interest rate and prices, but it has gotten really difficult for the people trying to buy a home in terms of trying to find a home and get a contract.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it seems like the media is always about 6 months behind when it comes to real estate. You know, they're saying jump in and buy a house now. It's like I don't think the boat's gone, so they can still jump on that boat. So they haven't missed the good opportunities, but they're not as easy as just getting out there and lowballing somebody and getting that property. Because now you're seeing probably 15, 20 some odd offers on a property.
It was really funny.
More?
2 weeks ago, I had with one pair of clients put one offer in, and they told me they had over 30 offers in the house.
Holy criminy, really?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that
put
is
one in
crazy.
on a Monday. The next day, I received an email saying we have over 90 offers on this house.
Why? What was the deal with that house? That can't be. That's got to be unusual.
It's that number is unusual. It is, but especially under the 100,000, some of the entry market, which are nice houses, which were 150, 160, 200 before, they're now back under 90. And looking at Facebook one day, I saw one of my friends who had put, another realtor friend who had said, I just got this reply that there was 90 offers on this house. And I ended up talking, I said, is that on Magnolia? He goes, how do you know? I said, I got the same information. So it's gotten really crazy out there.
So how does an investor or an average individual go out there and compete against that? I mean, what's the strategy? Do you go in there and just give a full price offer immediately? Do you go full price plus 10%, or do you just got to be first in or last in, or
it depends.
Is there a strategy? Maybe there's not. I don't know. I'm just
actually on some of these you're just not. Some of these people are going to be priced out, especially when you have a loan. Especially at FHA or conventional, whatever that is. Some of the people have enough just to buy the house, and once it goes above appraisal,
they're out of the game.
They're out of the game. So like HUD houses, you put an offer on a HUD house, anything you put above their appraised value, you're going to come in with cash on that, and the agents need to make sure that the buyers understand that. Sometimes they have enough for the down payment, but not down payment plus.
Now, Mike, as you talk to. As you guys get, don't grab the cord underneath. Grab the sign or the metal parts. As you talk to your clients and they're getting ready to purchase,
right?
How do you get them prepped then to get a loan when they're going to go out and face that kind of a market?
Well, I think the best way to do it for both of us is to, make sure that everybody's realistic on what the expectations are. Not only with the opportunity to purchase something, but what is reality in the market. We've seen a lot of people where they'll put an offer in, and a lot of people are using FHA now. Well, from a seller standpoint, that could change the type of offer that they take. If you put an offer on an FHA, on a loan on a home with FHA, and then you go get an FHA appraisal, that value is now set for 6 months. So it doesn't matter if the market's escalating or not. You're not going to be able to dump that thing because it's tied to a case number. So, these are all things that kind of maneuver around, and both the agents and the lenders have to be on the same page to understand what exactly they're dealing with, because sometimes the buyers get frustrated. And I see, hey, I'm not going to work with him anymore because we just couldn't get an offer in. Okay, well, really what happened was you need an FHA loan. You've put an offer in on a property where the seller doesn't want to take an FHA because they're capped at that point, because the appraisal's already going to get locked up for 6 months, or just little things like that where we all have to be on the same page and work together to make sure that the expectations for the borrower are realistic.
So are there those who want to buy right now who are just unable to, not because they don't qualify, but because there's just a shortage of houses in their price range?
Yeah, absolutely. The competition, I think, for those properties under $200,000 is pretty brutal. So you just have to be very, very, you have to have a good agent that knows, how to price it well, because you're not going to get a barrage of, counter offers back and forth when they've received, like you said, 90 offers at the beginning. They're going to look to cash first, and they're going to,
now,
speed of close of escrow.
One of the areas of real estate that got beat up heavily was the condominium market. Has that recovered as well?
Not as much, for sure. You have...
Are they even out there? Is there an inventory? Let's get the mic over to Gabe for a minute.
I'll say that the pricing hasn't come up in terms of recovery that way, but the condos are still being sold, especially on the lower end, because it's been for quite a while now. Ooh, people don't have money. It's a dire economy. It is a dire economy for most people, but there are still plenty of people out there with money, and a lot of these condos, number one, can't be sold through an FHA with an FHA loan, so it's going to take either a conventional or a cash. And I don't have the stats right here, but a lot of houses, condos especially, are being bought with cash. Whether it's a cash flow, it's the snowbirds coming in, people like that. So let me go back to one thing you were talking about earlier regarding as you're getting ready to get that loan, going through your foreclosure or having gone through a foreclosure or short sale. In terms of the short sale aspect, people out there underwater, the first thing they should do, whether it's buying a home without not having had a problem their first home, or going through a short sale or possible short sale, is get that counseling. You work with an agent. We have people such as you who we send people to you for legal advice in terms of a short sale. Should I or shouldn't I? Is it possible I just need to go bankruptcy or foreclosure? And I know that that sometimes foreclosure is the best bet for some people instead of a short sale. The other one is not only legal advice in terms of real estate, but also you have tax advice, and they're not always quite the same. You might have legal on one end and legal tax on the other. So it's all in qualifying the people. There are so many different variables out there that they really do need to get qualified advice to make a good decision and to do the planning process for. Now,
if you're representing the buyer, do you ever recommend to a buyer that they go talk to an attorney?
I have not.
Okay, because I don't think I've ever had a client come to me unless they're out of state. Now, sometimes I get out of state buyers, but that's because they're not familiar with our way of doing things. But interestingly enough, on new builds, they probably should, because I represent clients after they put their deposit onto a new build, something goes wrong and they want out again and they want their $20,000-$30,000 back.
The construction's not done up to par or whatever. They got to take it.
Oh, they lose if they haven't seen me ahead of time. Right. Yeah, they just flat lose.
Yeah. Or of course somebody that's not using conventional lending, hard money lending or private lender.
That's right. I do get the buyers who need a family member to do a wraparound or an owner carry back. We do get those buyers.
Yeah. Or they found a random hard money lender and they it's definitely smart
somebody
to
knocked on their
that
door.
Contract. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't use them most of the time is our advice, because most of the time by the time we look into it, it's a scammer out there,
right?
Or somebody who's they may not be a scammer, but they're just not reputable. They're not doing a deal that's good for the buyer. We see that quite a bit.
Well, sometimes too, you mentioned do we see buyers that sometimes that would need to see you? Potentially we could, because you have a lot of people that will come in and say, hey, I've got some money. Maybe the house is in my wife's name or husband's name. I have a job. We can split the world up and go attack this as either an investment property, or we can move. So sometimes there's a disposal issue potentially that we can't really be a part of.
Interestingly as well, I do have one mortgage company or broker company that sends me their clients when the spouse has debt and it's separate property debt, because their lender will only approve the deal if there's an attorney letter stating that debt won't impact their new loan. So we do those.
Is there any particular kind of loan that they're trying to get? Because usually if it's a government loan, like an FHA, VA, that type of thing, you have to include the debt of the disclaiming spouse anyway. Conventional is really the only way to split it up completely. So I don't know if it's a conventional deal, maybe that's just an overlay that they have as something that they want to make them comfortable. But on a government deal like an FHA loan, it doesn't matter. So
it's a good question. All I know is that about 3, 4, 5 of those a month come in, and I counsel with them very quickly, and then I write that letter and get it off to this mortgage broker, and they get the loans.
Looks like we just had a caller. Was that for...
Yes, it was Julia from Sedona who wants to know, is it a good time to become a realtor since people are frenzying over properties?
That's a good question.
Yeah, we'll let Gabe answer that, but that's funny that she asked that because a lot of people are actually jumping into the real estate market to become realtors. And I've heard those stats, and I don't have them in front of me, but I've heard that the numbers of licensees have gone up tremendously.
That's interesting. That's a great question.
I'll tell you the difference between this market and when people got into the market of the 04, 05, when I'm going to become a realtor because I can sell a lot of homes. The difference is the number of is the houses of inventory out, the inventory available to sell. I'm out there every day, going out looking at homes, putting in offers. Took one client almost 9 months. He was looking for a little something in particular, but especially in the certain ranges, you're going out there writing 4, 5, 10 offers, and maybe 3, 4 months later, you're still waiting.
So it's a lot more work these days.
It's a lot more work, and unless you're ready to list, if you have listings, then you're going to be able to sell the homes.
Seems like the realtors that are their listing agents are the ones that are making... Now, again, I'm just outside view here. The listing agent seems like they do less work. I'm not saying they're lazy, but it seems like if you get listings and you have 30 or 40 offers, oh my gosh, that's what I would want to do. Get a bunch of listings.
The marketing is not the hard part at this point, especially in certain price ranges. As you go up and up, then you need more marketing. The hard part is because most of these transactions now are going to be short sales, which means working with the client, counseling, send them to other type of counseling.
A lot longer to get your paycheck.
A lot longer, and not even a guarantee of it. I've got a couple of deals right now, and the one time that someone says, I want a short sale in my home, and do you have a hardship? It's like, yes, I do. I don't want to pay my my house is worth worth less than what I owe. The banks don't always look at it that way, especially based on your income and your assets. So when the bank comes back and says, we'd like you to contribute $5,000, $20,000, sometimes that's a deal breaker. And I try to get them to go seek legal advice and not cut off their nose in spite of their
I tell you,
face.
Mark probably has a lot to say about that. The strategic of somebody that has money in the bank, you don't always have to spend that, or they may ask for it, but then that's what the lawyer does or the attorney does, get that number knocked down to more a palatable amount, correct?
Yeah, and we've noticed changes just recently as well. Lenders, it seems like once we hit 2012, our major lenders, at least Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, they started making it their goal to get the short sales completed instead of just ignoring them and letting them go or being hard to deal with. So short sales became easier to deal with, and with that, we have noticed that some of those clients who previously would not have been qualified to do a short sale because they don't have a hardship, as you're mentioning, Gabe, all of a sudden now banks are. We just closed one of a guy who's got some assets. He had 2 rental properties that he wanted to short sell, and the second one is now closing. The first one closed a few weeks ago, and they asked for $2,000 total contribution on the second one. Nothing on the first one. Nothing.
Yeah.
And this guy's got some precious metals set aside, things like that we do disclose, and that just wouldn't have happened earlier.
Right, and I agree. So the basically being upside down, that's the issue. So before they didn't care.
Well, I wouldn't say it's the only issue. I agree with Gabe.
The major
I think they're
issue.
still looking at. I mean, if a person has $150,000 tucked in a savings account that's not a 401k or something like that, but a normal savings account, mutual fund or whatever, I don't think the bank's going to eat a second loan, depending on who they are, of course, but it's rare, I think, to find anybody who's going to do it without a contribution.
Sure, because you just foreclose.
That's right.
Not to spend a nickel.
Yeah, they're saying, what's the deal on that?
Yeah, back to Julia before, just to kind of answer a question about becoming a realtor. And I know you're Sedona, so it's a little bit of a drive, but this Thursday we actually have a major event. It's a major real estate event coming up. It's going to be in Glendale at the Thunderbird School of Management in the AT&T Auditorium. We have maybe 40, 50 seats left at this point. We have the Arizona Commissioner of Real Estate, Judy Lull, there. We have attorney Mark Winsor. We have Jim Eckley, Mary Frances
Coleman.
She's
good, very
she's
good.
A little spunky little gal. And a tax attorney, Paul Valentine's going to be there. So tremendous event. It's only $20, and afterwards we'll actually have a mixer with the attorneys and Judy Lull. We'll be hanging around, have a beer, a glass of wine with them, and some great food, and get to know these folks. So if you're, we will have O'Doul's for you. drink O'Doul's?
I have no idea what that is.
It's like
Oh, that's fine. Make fun of your host.
that's right. I think that it's near beer, so it's fake beer. I don't know.
Okay.
It comes in a green bottle.
Green bottle, that's right. So if you're still listening, please, and anybody else out there that's in the real estate business, whether you're a realtor, an investor, a lender, banker, credit union, whatever, this is a place to not only to learn some great information, but a great place to go to network and mingle with folks that are in the same boat that you are in the same business.
But that actually is an intriguing question. I know we had another caller, Joe, but give me just a minute.
Yeah.
Before we get to this other caller. That's a very intriguing question. Is it a good time to become a realtor right now? And I don't know. From all the realtors I rub shoulders with, I'd say it's a hard time still.
Yeah. The other way to look at that, and I've heard this before, so this isn't really my terminology, but when there's blood in the streets, people are making money. You have to. There's realtors that have been out there for a long time that are maybe a little lethargic, or they're beating themselves up because they don't like the economy. There's people jumping in that are looking at it in a different viewpoint that are killing it.
It's interesting that you say
Killing
that,
it.
and now I have to jump in because this goes to what Rod, who had some language issues, or he would have come on.
He wants to cuss a lot.
Sorry,
or something?
Rod. Rod said, in not exactly these words, out-of-the-box thinkers like me give away flat screens upon the sale of homes and other gifts. He's so busy working it all the time, it seems like he's 24/7. He's kicking all your non-creative butts, and he's from Phoenix. And sorry, I'm not going to.
So it was cussing. I was kidding, but that is his problem. He's so excited.
And I'm gonna agree with him because it's out of the box thinking that's killing it right now.
He wanted me to say the name of his
you.
company, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
Rod, I'm sorry.
Rod, good for you because that's the case out there. There's a
But
lot of good
obviously so
realtors.
busy then.
Yeah.
Rod can go on the chat and put the name in on that chat.
Yes,
though,
you can.
so-
If you're-
And Rod, and I'll say what it is, but we've had realtors in
do
the
you know
past that
Rod?
have been on here. No, I don't.
Oh,
I don't.
Oh, okay.
No, but if he gets on the chat, but we've had out-of-the-box thinkers that have 20, 30, 40 escrows open with my title company that they're all short sales. Gabe can talk about the inventory right now, which is extremely low. How do we make more inventory out there? And it's really the strategic defaults. The people that are current that either aren't aware or think they can't dump that property in a I guess in a way that they can control their destiny, which means can create their own exit strategy, which means getting a realtor, getting an attorney like yourself, and making sure that they're doing it the proper way, and then buying another house, getting out of that house.
So when you think about it, if you're going full boat anyway, and you list these people, giving away a 42-inch flat screen for $349 really isn't anything.
Sam's Club,
Better than dropping a
$2.99.
1.5% or something.
But you know what's
Right?
interesting? Almost every industry, you'll have those who can come in and succeed no matter what the market. You have those that no matter what the market is, they're going to fail. And then you have a group in the middle that it does depend on the market. So if you're the type of person that can be disciplined and work hard and have a good personality, because all those things are needed in real estate. You got to work hard. Yeah, you have to have a good personality, really. You have to be savvy to gain people's trust and understand what the heck you're talking about.
Right.
And good marketing. In fact, let's use this as an example. I watched Guarantee Title. There's a lot of title companies that really struggled during this market. Some went out of business.
40 some odd.
Yeah.
We hate to see anybody go out of business, but over 40 went out of business the last 5 years.
Yeah,
41.
But Guarantee
41.
Title Agency grew and is
Yes.
strong and doing
Yes.
well because they marketed and they were smart and worked hard and of course got on this show and.
That's right.
And then it becomes BMWs as Christmas gifts.
There you go. Yeah, we've been around for 35 years, but thank you for that.
It's the same as mortgages, Mike.
Yeah, and I was just going to say
deal.
that. He has some folks that probably hate being in the mortgage business right now and are doing maybe
It's
one or
hard.
two deals. And I know he's got a couple people over there doing 10 times that every month that are just killing it. And they just think out of the box and they wake up with a smile on their faces and they go after it.
Just like anything. I mean, there's money to be made all the time, and no matter what it is.
It is a harder market, especially for loans. I mean, it's a hard market, isn't it?
Yes and no. I mean, I think, when you look back to 04, 05, and you can say the same thing about real estate, I mean, you can take the amount of loan officers that were doing loans was probably in the 15,000 range in Arizona, let's say, okay? Well, there's only like 4,000, 3,500 licensed here now. And of those, maybe 1,500, 2,000 of them are maybe working, and half of those are out-of-state people that just carry the license. And so, the competition, the volume is less, but the competition level for those loans and the amount of loan officers you're competing against is substantially lower, too.
But there's still
So-
some hungry loan officers out there, and again,
Oh,
that may be in
sure.
any market. But
Well, now it's about understanding who you're dealing with. Much like real estate, we have licenses now. You can look at the experience of any loan officer online. You can go to NMLS Consumer Access, and you can look at my name, and you can see, okay, hey, this guy's history goes back into the mid-'90s, so you got to assume that guy's probably seen some stuff over some time.
that's got to make it hard for new. Back to the caller's question about is it a good time to become a realtor? And at any time when you jump in, it matters who's mentoring you, and because
Get a good team. That's the approach.
Yeah, go ahead, Gabe.
Have a good team approach.
Yeah, you
Let-
better
let
have a
me-
good mentor.
Yeah.
Let me answer her question from two aspects. Number one, if you're smart, you're ambitious, and you're going to take a certain tact on this, you need to read the market. I'm not sure what Sedona is, so that might be a little different right now. But I had one of my cousin's sons call me the other day. He said he wanted to get his license, but it's more of a part-time. You can't really work this market part-time. A new person isn't going to have the savvy to do the short sales. You don't have the time. I mean, I have clients who, if they see it tonight, I need to be out there with them tomorrow to have a chance at some of these homes.
And they have no idea how much knowledge you have to have.
Gotta
to sell
be
a house.
aggressive.
Because somebody would think, well, how hard can that be? You want to buy that house? Cool, sign here. It's tough.
Yeah. I think we had 2 more callers.
You know what? I promised Julia from Sedona that she requested you personally to do a shout out to Alice working at SRP, since they both watch you every single week. So, Tom?
Alice, thank you for listening. We love you. And Julia, Sedona. I love Sedona. I've only been there once my entire life, and it was beautiful. So,
fan club.
And then you ready for this, Mark? And then Lacey from Tempe says in these words, I love Tom. And guaranteed title, who made our family complete. So I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure what that means. Maybe you got some kids out there you don't know about that.
hopefully I won't need Mark's help for some, I don't know. Lacey, I love you, and whoever you are, that's great. You guys friend me on Facebook or whatever. And again, unless there's Tom Jr. out there, then I don't know. I got to maybe
You
change
better
my
slide
name or
Mark for
something.
retainer.
I knew I should have gotten like a radio stage name or something, and now people really know who I am.
No, I need somebody now
you know.
to call. Somebody call and say you like Mark before I get a call.
We don't want Mark crying himself to
Before
sleep
we
tonight.
know,
You guys, Mark's
gonna
going
be
to
the-
cry himself to sleep tonight.
gonna be
Somebody
the
calling and say
Diller
they
and
like
Windsor
Mark.
show before you
know it. Please.
Well, gosh, I feel humbled, but thank you. This is great. Awesome. Now, what were we talking about?
I have no idea. Real estate.
Wait, I want to go back to Mike's new loan program, because I tell you, when he told me about this a couple months ago and they're getting ready to roll this out, I thought, oh my gosh, the thousands of people that you can help that just recently went through this, even a year ago or 2 years ago, or just contemplating doing a short sale. I mean, this must be amazing for your company to be able to do something like this. You want to talk a little bit about the minimum qualifications on this? You mentioned FICO a couple minutes ago, 600 or whatever, debt ratios, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Typically, in these types of loans, you're probably going to hold the deal for 3 to 5 years, in that type of area. So you're not going to be you're not really worried about carrying this paper over a 30-year window, because once everything clears up, assuming there's no other,
So just so the people out there understand, this is a portfolio loan for you guys. You guys are holding the paper, and why does that make a difference for the listeners that are out there?
And what does that mean?
And what does that mean?
Well,
Yeah.
no, I just meant when you approach this type of loan as a consumer, this isn't something that you're going to take for the rest of your life. You're not looking at it as a 30-year window. You're going to look at it as something, hey, I'm going to get into the house. I'm going to, hopefully now that the market is starting to turn, I'm going to ride a little bit of an appreciation wave. And then once everything settles out and I meet, standard guidelines again, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this, into a regular loan and get myself back in order. Basically there's you don't have any seasoning requirements for the short sale or the foreclosure, so you can be literally 4 minutes out and call us and be okay. Like we said, what we want to watch is we really want to watch the other credit outside of the specific event of the short sale or the property. So we're looking pretty good for the last 24. They don't want to see any late payments on anything in the last 24 months. As far as your standard installment credit, they'll give you 1 times 30, meaning one 30-day late payment. on anything revolving, over the last 24. They want a minimum 600 FICO, which is, again, just a flash picture at that minute in time of what your credit report looks like.
Just a comparison, what's a FICO on an FHA or conventional? Is it 620 or 680 or?
It depends on kind of what you're doing with it as far as the investor that will carry it. We do down to 600 at our place. And again, you can swing. I mean, just depending on what balance you have that minute, how recent a late payment is, or if there's anything on your
But there are
credit.
some deal killers, right? For example,
yeah.
a tax lien's a deal killer, right?
If it's unpaid.
Right.
Yeah.
Unpaid tax lien's a deal killer. Any unpaid lien, I should say, out there, or unpaid.
Well, and the reason for that, you want to explain, the reason for that from a lending perspective.
Yeah, it attaches to the new house when you buy it.
Right, exactly. So they don't like that. They don't like that. They do want a 6-month seasoning window if you are in a Chapter 13 or a Chapter 7.
Now, they don't understand what that means.
Okay. So, why don't you explain it? You're probably more qualified than I am.
After something's done, you got to wait 6 months. All they're saying. You finish whatever the problem is. And there's like a bankruptcy, and you got to wait 6 months, which isn't bad considering that usually it's 2 years.
Only if it's right. If it's just the foreclosure or the
then
property,
it's immediately.
then you're good, right?
Right, but a foreclosure, when he says seasoning, the word seasoning just means wait.
Right.
Wait.
What about interest rate? Here's the key thing that we
Well,
have.
well,
and it might be important to point out from what point in the bankruptcy.
The discharge. It's the discharge,
right.
not the closing. The discharge, which for a Chapter 13 is at the tail end. For a Chapter 7, it's only like 4 months into it, right, Scott?
Yeah.
Interest rate.
You're looking typically between mid-7s and mid-8s, so it's not too bad.
When I first got in the business many years ago, the interest rate was like 12.5%, 3 points. So right now, what's a conventional 3.5, 3.875? So really,
right,
you're talking maybe a
off
4-point
little bit,
premium.
but
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But it's not. You're not seeing double digits like you said. Back when I first
Right.
got into business, everything was 9.99 and 3 points.
Yeah. Are these 30-year
Just touch
loans,
the paper.
or you said not to hold the paper too long? So is this a short-term loan?
Well,
or?
yeah, there'll be 3, 5, or 7-year arms with a 30-year amortization, meaning that we're going to pretend the payment's going over 30 years, and we're going to fix that interest rate number for 36 to 60 months. So then at that point, you can get out. And we'll know based on what event you have and what type of loan you're going to go into next, we'll know how long you need to carry it for. So
And that balloon or anything like that, or prepayment penalty? What's the margin? What's the index?
I
Totally
object.
messing with him. I'm
I
totally
object.
messing with him.
Compound
Unfortunately,
question.
for you, I could give it all to you. It's just,
LIBOR.
it'll just convert to an adjustable afterwards. And again, we always take the time to explain what that means in a worst case scenario. And it's interesting because people get real afraid of arms now because of all the negative publicity. But if you think about it, the people who are currently in adjustables, they have the best loans out there.
Yeah, exactly. I have people sometimes come in worried because they're in an adjustable rate mortgage, and I'm saying, are you nuts? Just
absolutely.
relax for a while. Worry about it someday, but today, relax.
Very low.
Relax.
Another caller, eh?
Yes, Roger and Beth from Mesa. Roger says they want to get into a house. He has a current 501 they pulled yesterday. Needs to get to 6 to 7. He's had 2 car repos, a bankruptcy, and a divorce. Sounds like a little bit of a challenge there. Is it possible, and can you refer someone?
You know what? I'm going to refer somebody, and I'm going to say it could be possible because of the bankruptcy. We've had a guest on here a couple times, Dawn McCraw of Go Clean Credit.
Go Clean.
And she basically stated almost 100% of the time during a bankruptcy, there are credit issues on there that are incorrect because of the way the bankruptcy is recorded. So Dawn McCraw, Go Clean Credit, you can just Google her or look her up on Facebook or the web or whatever.
And
but
that's
she
Dawn.
is
How do you spell her last name?
MC
CRAW?
Yes, Go Clean Credit. She's like an extremely analytical engineer type that kind of deciphered the FICO scores and how that works.
You can
and she
find her on
knows
my Facebook.
to the letter of the law, and on my Facebook also. So
Right, and you can go back and look at some past shows that she's been on. I have them marked with her, with her name and company.
Right,
so.
right. And it's amazing because people ask about her all the time because she does great work. In fact, she's helping a couple of my friends right now. So
Yeah, they do a pretty good job. We use them too.
you do, yeah. Well, there you go. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
outstanding.
Well, I can also say that if you're going to go see Dawn McCraw to get your credit cleaned to do a new loan, you should at the same time see your mortgage professional. So get the loan process started. Get with Mike or somebody and get that process started because they can tell you what it has to look like, and you can take that picture to Dawn and say, here's where I need it to be. Help me get there.
Yeah, and the cool thing is the lender doesn't charge anything up front because they want your business in the future. So they're going to help you fix your credit.
Wow.
Yeah, they will help you. So the person who called in, give Mike a call. call him at his house anytime you want.
Well, it sounds
24/7.
like-
Come on over.
Even at 1 in the morning, it's okay.
That's right.
Well, and if they're going to go out because they're going to buy another house, it sounds like they should probably get that process started as well.
Well, it's important because I'm going to tell you, like I just had a client that came to me, and the loan officer that they were working with didn't do all the stuff that they needed to do, ended up getting under contract. And if you know anything about the contracts now, I mean, once you get into one, there's not a whole lot of way you can get out.
Right.
And so they lost their earnest money in that transaction in a deal that they really never should have been in the first place. And so, you got to be careful of that and make sure that you really leave no stone unturned, from the standpoint of the lending side, because, like he's maybe focusing just on, hey, I have this credit problem. Well, what we don't know is this guy could have income issues. This guy could have, problems on his tax return. This guy could have a myriad of issues that come up that we need to address first, and that's kind of what we help these guys prepare for.
Do we need to break for sponsors?
Talking about money.
Yeah.
We need to pay for our show right now. We're late actually on it. Well, we're getting good calls. It's actually been a great show. So we got good callers coming in, so we kind of got distracted, and we're past the time. I do encourage our listeners to support our sponsors. Is one of our sponsors a fly killer?
I'm really bothered by that fly right there.
And this thing cracks me up. So if you're going to hear some buzzing in a second, this is, and it smells like barbecue. So Joe just zapped a fly with something that looks like a tennis racket.
Put that in the camera.
And when he does that, it sends off this smoky smell that smells like, I don't know, chicken wings or something.
This fly won't win
definitely
here.
radio worth watching right
Come on.
here.
Yeah,
He zapped and it's still alive. Look at that.
He's still.
It's in a coma.
I took off a wing.
Dude, that's inhumane. Look at that. Here's this.
You might
let's
want
go
to
to
watch
commercial.
your fingers
Let's
there, Tom.
Show that in the camera first, though.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
It's not the camera, Joe. It's not the camera.
That really was inhumane.
But it smells good though. I like that smell.
Nobody saw that. All right, we better go to our sponsors. Please support our sponsors and come back right after the break.
Hi, Marie here for wannasing.com. Are you looking for professional DJ or karaoke services for your next holiday party or get-together? Wannasing.com can provide the best in sound, lighting, and a professional MC to host your next event. Whether it be a company party, birthday party, wedding, or any occasion, Wannasing.com is ready to provide the fun and make it a night to remember for years to come. Call 480-664-8801. That's 480-664-8801. Mention this radio ad and receive a special discount for your next fun event. Wannasing.com. Are you having plumbing or septic problems? No worries. Call Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Been in the Valley since 1996. Family owned and operated. Proudly serving East Valley and surrounding areas. With a full range of services from drain cleaning, septic tank pumping, general maintenance and repairs, inspections for the sale of your home. They provide excellent and courteous service for all your plumbing and septic needs. We're not satisfied till you are satisfied. Licensed, bonded, and insured. Call today. Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Contact Denise at 480-987-8051. That's 480-987-8051. Are you ready to start taking control of your future and maximize your earning potential? Central Arizona College has smaller class sizes and personalized attention to help you compete in today's tough job market. CAC now serves Santan Valley and Queen Creek. The CAC Santan Center is located in the shops at Copper Basin on Hunt Highway, behind Barrow's Pizza. Stop in and see how taking classes at CAC costs a fraction of a state university, and your credits can transfer. So, if you want to earn real money, you need to learn real skills at Central Arizona College. Enroll in classes today by calling 480-677-7800 7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu or call 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu. Central Arizona College, your college, your way.
All right, welcome back to the Winsor and Diller show.
I thought it was the Diller and Windsor show.
telling
We keep changing it all the time.
It
The
is
D
now.
and W.
The D&W.
I do want to point out that I invited callers to call in to say they supported Mark Windsor, and the phone was like dead.
I thought for
Five-
sure somebody was calling it when they did
dead.
say they loved you.
I unplugged it just to piss you
Well,
off.
Tom has this floating head picture above the rest of us, so maybe he has an advantage.
It's killing me. I don't know. That's right.
Floating head always takes precedence.
Yeah,
over
that's
it.
why you're getting all the comments today.
It does.
So I
Thank
thought
you,
at least
Joe.
my mom would call in, but
Not even your wife.
well, she's busy.
If you ever-
She doesn't. She
yeah.
doesn't listen anymore. She's too busy since they called her as Relief Society president.
There you
she
go.
does not have time
There you go.
to do that. But
Let's talk a little bit more about the event that's coming up.
All
That
right.
you are an esteemed panelist with several other attorneys. Esteemed. That's a real word, Mark. And
I'm at least a panelist.
you're a panelist, and we're going to be talking about a lot of the myths, misnomers, some of the fraud that's going on out there. Not as much as before, but there is still fraud out there regarding short sales, non-arm's length transactions, that sort of thing. And I know a big part of the talk will be regarding the Mortgage Debt Relief Act. Do you want to key in on that a little bit, or you want to talk? I know you haven't had a chance to fully look at.
Here's something. Anytime a tax attorney starts talking, figure out some way to stay awake.
There you go.
No, let's have one on the show, huh?
Well, on the panel, there's
On the
gotta be
panel,
one.
we do.
And
We
I'm
had
not
to
a
put one
tax
token
attorney.
guy in there.
Oh,
the
nice.
last time we did a panel, we had like 265 real estate professionals there, and they asked a lot of tax questions. I thought, why don't we have a tax attorney? I found one. He's pasty white. He's going to sit in the back.
And does he talk on a language that you have to just focus on him to try to figure out what he's saying?
We're going to give decoder rings to everybody who walks in the door.
Yeah, because it's
so-
tough. You know, I sit on a lot of panels. I used to. Actually, it's slowed down some for me because I'm busy doing these other things. But used to be on them all the time, and I'd be on with tax attorneys or CPAs, and holy moly, I'd have to translate for them. It's actually very simple. The Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Relief Act expires at the end of this year. First of all,
And we're seeing a lot of hype out there from some folks that are saying you got to get your deal done now before that expires. Is that a bunch of bogus hype, or is that
Sometimes, first of all, it only applies to your primary residence.
Right.
And not everybody that's
Right.
short selling, it's the primary
right?
residence.
So in most cases, it's just a bunch of hype.
A lot of times, and also the vast majority of our clients in the past. Now it's changing, by the way. This is changing. The vast majority of our clients were insolvent anyway, meaning
Right.
they had more debt
Right.
than assets, and they don't pay that tax anyway if they're insolvent. Now that's
Right.
changing. We are seeing it, but interestingly, most of the clients who are not insolvent and come in to see me, they also have investment properties that they're trying to short sell, which that act doesn't apply to that anyway.
Right. Now,
So-
insolvency is I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's a big thing because I've been in a lot of these classes, some that you teach, because I know you're a certified teacher in Arizona, but most people will not be insolvent the day after they do their short sale. That's why they've got to seek professionals prior to developing their exit strategy and getting out of there, because once they sell,
Well, you
they're
include that
typically
loan.
Exactly.
That's
so
right.
That's right.
So
that's-
you include the debt that's being forgiven.
right.
Because you get a 1099 that's got that debt on it.
Right.
You get to include that on your asset
Understand, yeah.
and debt sheet. So there's many who are, but the problem is, again, we're getting more and more of our higher end clients who have 401ks and other assets. So they're not insolvent. And so they're, but you know what? If you sit down and think about it, let's say that you've got a second mortgage, and they're going to forgive $100,000 of that second mortgage, $100,000, and your tax would be $30,000 on that, right? Which number's bigger? See, you can get all the fancy tax guys on, but to me it's simple. Which number's bigger, 30,000 or 100,000? 100,000 is a bigger number. So pay the stupid tax and be done with it because it's lower than 100,000.
Right. We had a caller that actually called in that said, "I heart Mark."
You know what?
Oh, somebody hearted me.
There is somebody out there, John P. I thought it was a joke at first.
Is that a relative?
He
I
said,
don't know.
He said, Mark knows me, but I love him. And so do lots of others. I'll be reading about this in New Times, I have a feeling.
All right. Can
Thanks, John.
all the grandmotherly
Well, we said this before. You're not
types-
gay, but your boyfriend is.
Oh,
it's-
Molly.
I'm
glad-
sorry. It's a family show.
I'm
I
glad
got out of
my
line.
wife doesn't
I
watch.
got out of line.
I can
No,
help-
really. John P. was very nice.
All right.
Probably from your church.
One person likes me. That's wonderful.
No, he loves you.
You know,
That's why
one
he
of these
loves you.
days, I was gonna
Mark.
do a on-air Facebook-like challenge with Tom, but then I thought that'd be stupid.
How about
I'd get trumped.
How about an on-air kissing booth?
There you go. We talked about that, to have a Howard Stern type thing, but
Oh,
that
my
wouldn't
God.
work. It wouldn't work.
With you and Mark?
No. But anyways, this Thursday, we still have room for folks to sign up. It's
Is there
only
still room? That's
there-
odd.
Less than 50. I know. We're having it in Glendale. It's harder to fill. Usually when we have an event like this in Scottsdale or the East Valley, it's full within days. So, it's a 250-seat venue. There's maybe 40, 45 seats left at this point. You can find information by calling me, looking at Mark Windsor's Facebook or my Facebook, or calling the folks over at Harib or Gabe. Before we forget, you guys throw out your contact information. We appreciate that you're here. We have about 10 more minutes. But, again, it's this Thursday. It's from noon to 6. We have, again, a panel of experts: Mark Windsor, Judy Lowe, our commissioner, Mary Frances Coleman, Jim Eckley, and Paul Valentine will be there. And it ends with a happy hour with the attorneys, with a lot of just tremendously good food. We added shrimp, firecracker shrimp. Love that. So, yeah, we added a lot of great food. So
I can't stay for the happy hour afterwards.
we don't want you there at all then.
Sorry. All right.
Absolutely
So the
need you
panel
there.
just lost one
That's
member.
Right. No, we need you there because people heart you big time.
And the
Yeah,
good
one
thing
guy.
about these panel discussions is that you have the differing opinions, that instead of a dry class that
Right,
you're going to,
right.
you have the different opinions from, especially some of the lawyers who, no, I'm not, I feel this way and feel that way.
It's
and then
not always cut and dry.
No.
There's a lot of gray area, which is, to me, law. It's written black and white. Why is there gray area?
I'm
We're going to find that
purposely
out.
disagree with them on anything just
Yeah.
for the fun of it.
And some of these
No,
guys are
you're
big
wrong.
bloggers, so you can rip on their blogging.
I was reading your blog and you're
There
full
you
of
go.
it.
There you go. We've got another caller, but Gabe, what's your contact information, how they can find you, your website, and all that kind of groovy stuff?
Website, Urias Homes, www.uriashomes.com. Phone number 480-358-5982.
Is it an area you specialize in?
I wish I really did
Real
specialize
estate?
in the East Coast where I live, and the East Valley where I live,
East
but I
Valley.
kind of go all over. So no, and the one other thing that we're really getting into is maybe Todd or Roger earlier is doing the short sale listing, and really I've become a CDPE, which is a Certified Distressed Property Expert. You can understand this and know it without it, but it gives you a little more added credentials to go out and really help these people, help them with their exit strategy, get them to the counselors that you need to, whether it's legal and or tax advice, but really need just to be there for these people.
You
Right.
know, we were talking before the show that it seems like the short sale discussion is becoming less popular.
It's kind of waning down, which
Yeah.
which is surprising because there's
Is
still going
it?
to
No,
be
I
a
don't think it's... Yeah, but, so many people...
Or are they
have been
tired of
through
hearing about it? Is that
Tired
what
of
you're-
hearing about it.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I know that what happens, you'll notice with the phones, we're talking about short sales, the calls slow down. The moment we
Right.
start talking about how do you buy a new house, how do you
Right,
become a
right,
realtor,
right.
how do you get a new loan, how do you clean up your mess after
How do
it's
we
done?
help people?
That's
Exactly.
right. On new stuff, all of a sudden the phones light up and people
Right.
are interested. So it's a time of... that tells us what's happening in the marketplace
Well, we
as
talked about this. That's going to be our direction going forward. We want to do this to help folks get into whatever they need, new property or whatever, get a new loan,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So
We got another caller that
Yeah,
called in. Let's
really
do that.
quick.
We'll get Mike's contact
Absolutely.
information after this. Let's get the
Perry
caller.
from Tucson wants to know, is Jim Davidson going to be attending?
the answer is yes. Jim Davidson is our branch manager in Gilbert. He's been in the business for 30-some-odd years, and very well known, very well liked. I call him Fred
Smart
Mertz.
dude,
That's probably
man.
the first time he's heard me say that,
Wow.
but he looks like Fred Mertz.
Well, I
from
can tell
Love
you,
Lucy.
when I have a question that nobody else knows, he knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a
Do you
good.
know
That's
Jim
right. You
Davidson,
work
too?
with Jim Davidson. That's right. Jim is a good.
Only
he's
on
one of
higher
those
end
guys.
stuff.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that just is well known. We stole him from another company, and he's just a great guy. So it's good to have him aboard. So thank you,
Right
Perry,
on.
for calling in and
Perry
You
from
know, you've
Tucson.
got.
Throwing out
let
Jim's
me,
name.
Let me plug some others over there really quickly. Rima is the one I primarily
Right.
work
She's
with.
in our short sale processing department, and the
She's
gal who runs that
incredible.
CDP certified. I don't know how they do it. I sat there. I've listened to these folks, and they're monotone. They work with the banks, and they get it done. I couldn't do that because it's repetitive.
But she's
and
good.
The banks say, well, we don't have that. Well, here it is. Let me send it to you again. We don't have it. Here it is. So we get that stuff processed in less than 2.5 to 3 weeks.
But the
or
best
less.
person
Wow.
at Guarantee
Yeah.
Title is Jenna.
He didn't say Tom Diller.
That throws me off, but
all my fans
Jenna,
are going to boycott.
I hear Jenna's pretty good.
Unlike Mark, Jenna rocks. Yeah, they all do. It's funny. I say that it's a small company. There's you can't hide under the radar screen because we're so small. So everybody's got to work hard. We don't hire anybody new.
Well, you say small company. You got like 8 branches.
Oh, yeah. When it comes to, we're not like a Fidelity or First American or whatever, but we're a big company when it comes to because we do a lot of REOs and a tremendous amount of short sales. But there's really everybody has accountability, so there's no layers of management. So we really all work hard. It's a tough business to be in, and the ones that have survived are really doing a great job. And all those, even the competitors out there, they're doing a pretty good.
You know what's tough is it's stressful for clients. There's a lot of documents. They'll hand in all their documents. They'll lend a new set of documents. I mean, it's a tough thing out there.
It is.
Since you let the cat out of the bag and let everyone know that we really love Jenna over here and she's the best. Are we going to let Tom know now it's going to be the Mark and Jenna show finally today?
We should probably. I have invited Jenna to this show 5 or 6 times, and she won't come out here.
I love all Jennas.
So do I. Just the name. I don't know.
No,
So I don't know what the deal is.
Mike Yamamoto, my evil twin cousin over here, that people say we kind of look like. I don't see it.
Almost exactly.
All righty, now we're gonna. You just lost all your likes on that.
So, Mike.
Our main website is www.smartmtg.com, SMARTMTG.com. You can reach me at 602-490-0205. And what we're seeing, too, with just as kind of a thought for a lot of you, because some people don't realize it, we've got we do have access to the new HARP 2.0 loans, which are for those people who have Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac owned properties, which we'll look up for you based on your address. And those we do have the unlimited product, which will allow you to refinance those loans you could be underwater by $1 million and it doesn't matter. So that's something that we'll have to identify when we go through it to see if you qualify, but that's there. And then for any of you guys that have FHA loans out there that you originated or closed on prior to basically the end of May of 2009, there's a special pricing profile for those people that you can really save some money on and do those refis now as well. So
do you take care of manufactured homes as well?
Not on purpose.
That's nice.
You say special pricing. What does that mean?
Well, in other words, what HUD came out and said was they came out a few years ago, and HUD, which is the insurance company, which is basically FHA, basically said, "Hey, we're going to start changing." You've probably seen it a lot in the newspapers or whatever that they're running out of money, blah blah blah. So they go out and they changed the mortgage insurance premiums, which is basically all the pay-in by all the people that have FHA loans. Well, they've raised it and changed it over the course of the last few years. Well, what happened was FHA has always had a great program called the Streamlined Refinance. No appraisal, no income qualifying, no asset qualifying. It's basically FICO score and pay your mortgage on time, or at least try, right? That was basically the deal. Well, the problem was as the mortgage insurance premiums kept increasing, it became very difficult for a person who had that type of loan to refinance because the cost of the loan was higher than what they currently have.
Okay.
And so they came out with a special program where they've drastically reduced that number, so it makes it much more beneficial for the customer to go out and refinance that loan and save money immediately.
Did they just do that? Because I just refinanced not long ago. I probably did it too fast.
It depends. Yeah, it just came out a couple months ago, and it just takes place actually starting in June. So
all right, as usual, I'm in the wrong line.
And Mike, to be clear, we've been talking a lot about short sales, but I think you slipped in there that you can help people after foreclosure as well. Is that
correct?
Right?
Yeah, no difference.
Okay,
for us.
Now, are you seeing people with FICO scores that meet your FICO after foreclosure? Because at that point, obviously, you haven't made payments on.
Again, credit profiles are very, very interesting, and again, you could talk to the Go Clean Credit guys, about that type of thing. It really depends on what your complete profile looks like. If you have no credit and one house and it goes in the tank, you're going to be in trouble.
Right.
But if the average person's out there, he's got 2 car loans, 3 credit cards, and all of it has a perfect payment history for the last 10 years, and he's got one mortgage that's going sideways. A lot of times they don't see it. We've pulled plenty of people, middle 7s, upper 700s, Haven't made a payment in 2 years on a house, but everything else is perfect.
Wow.
Right.
We have one more caller right before the end. Maybe somebody else is going to heart mark one more time.
Well, yeah, because we're almost out of time, so hopefully it's a quick call.
No, nobody else has a heart on for
They
Mark?
couldn't. They could not find. They could not find Go Green Credit. I said no. It's Go Clean
Go Clean
Credit.
Credit, right.
Right. They were looking for Go Green, not Go Clean.
Got it.
So it's Go
Gotcha.
Clean Credit. Dawn McCraw.
Correct.
LaCroix.
She's absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
All right, well, thank you. We are out of time. Thank you for joining us today. It was a great show. Thank you to all of our listeners. And again, not only join us next week at 5 o'clock for the show that we will yet name in the future, the show with no name.
That's right.
But join us also at 4 o'clock for the Mark Windsor Show, another voice for values.
So are you still going to be on this show?
For a while. Well, Scott,
And then the next show.
yeah, what we will do...
He's just going to move in
Oh,
here.
that's what I was gonna say, right.
Set him up with a cot or
Right.
something. He wants to move in here.
No, we talked about that next show. In fact, I was talking about Scott helping with that with the money and motivation show that starts at 6:15. So we've got
With
all the
Nancy
shows
Fleming.
with
yeah.
Nancy Fleming.
It's a good show, too.
It is a
Oh,
good
yeah.
show. It is a good
Oh,
show.
yeah.
And so Scott will represent the attorney side on that show. I just have had way too many requests, very, very many requests, to get back to the variety and political and singers. You know, we miss the singers on here and those types of
Right.
things. And so we will do another Voice for Values show, which is needed in today's
Beautiful.
time, if you think about it for a minute.
All right.
All right, join us again. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Mark
everybody.
Windsor,
Appreciate it.
Tom
Love
Diller.
every one of you.
God bless.
Yep. Goodbye.
Wow. Edible arrangements. Beautiful, delicious, and delivered right to your door. You won't believe your eyes when you feast upon these beautiful edible gifts.
Located in Queen Creek on Combs and Ganzel in the Fry's Shopping Center, Edible Arrangements is the leading purveyor of delicious, high-quality, artistically designed fresh fruit arrangements that are a practical and healthy gift, perfect for every occasion. They feature a wide variety of delicious items to choose from, including mouth-watering chocolate-dipped strawberries, juicy pineapple, and melon arrangements, just to name a few. Contact Edible Arrangements at 480-655-6464. That's 480-655-6464.
Remember, perfect for any occasion. Edible arrangements.
Do you feel like you keep talking and no one cares? Well, Brian Martin does. Every Thursday from 6 to 8 on KQCK Live. Politics, world leaders, who's good, who's bad. He'll be there to talk with you. Brian Martin on KQCK Live every Thursday from 6 to 8.